Now we're going to do a PIP gutter splint. So this will be immobilizing the PIP joint, but keeping the DIP clear and the MP, but it'll keep this an extension, and it's going to be on the palmar side. So with my pattern, I'm going to mark the web space and then up to the DIP. Good. And you can remove your finger. And I'm going to go about 1/4 of an inch or so on the sides. Grab my scissors here. Okay. All right, and then I will fit it to my patient. Good. So I want it to be at least half the, and you really want them to have their fingers straight, about half of the width here of the actual finger. Good. So then this bands will work. So you can tell here that this is a little bit long because with my splint material came up this far, then it would actually immobilize the DIP. So I'll make it a little bit shorter. And I make my pattern here. And I got my nice crayon. Good. And then I'm just making a little less here. Then I'm going to put it in the water and get it nice and heated up. And with the, you want to position your patient with this one where their PIP is straight. And then if you have them turn their hand over, you can just kind of put it on and let gravity make it form to the finger, because it will drape real nice then. So you'll want to make sure that you keep that digit in extension though, and that you don't cross the PIP and you don't interfere with MIP or MP flexion here. So once your splint material gets transparent, that's when it is ready. Good. And I'm going to cut it right inside that yellow line, if at all possible, so our splints are pretty and you don't have yellow marking on it. Round in those edges. And if it gets too hard, you can always put it back in before forming it. And then I'm going to apply it. Soft hands, make sure I have enough room here. And fold the lateral sides. If you're too hard with your fingers, then you're going to have fingerprints. That's why it's nice to just let gravity kind of, and you can see that I'm a little too long here. So I will just kind of mark it, my fingertip, and trim it up. You'd like to be a little longer because it's much easier to take off material rather than add. Good. Bend for me. Yeah, so I'm going to need a little bit more off the top here. You got some working time with this material. I'm going to check my length, half, make sure my edges are nice and smooth. Good, and then it's going to start getting solid. That means it's hardening up. Good. So you might be making this splint for anything where you want to keep that DIP nice and immobilized. So maybe a ligament strain. But they'll still have good function because their other fingers aren't immobilized and they still can bend the DIP and the MP. Good. So you can see this splint, how there's a little bit of an edge, sharp edge there, and on the sides. So what I will do next, I will just kind of dip it, doesn't take much, and kind of smooth it with my finger. On the corners too. And kind of smooth with my finger. You don't want it in there too long, otherwise you're going to lose the shape. And always make sure your ends are nice and rounded. Okay, so then come back to my patient, make sure that it's clear in the MP joint and the DIP that she can bend. Go ahead and bend for me. Good. Perfect. And then we will need 2 straps, one up here on the P1 and then the P2. And you can see on the sides that it's half the length, but it's not so long that it's going to be sliding, because then the strapping won't be able to hold it in place if it's too long. And then we'll go to this side. It's half the length. Good. And we'll get our little Velcro. So you could probably just do 1 long piece if you wanted, but I'll go ahead and do 2. And then I'm going to get them a little warm. You can hold them there on the sides, I like to do. Heat up that adhesive, it's going to stay on better. Round those edges. To place it back on her. See how long those straps need to be, because it needs to be pretty snug. You don't want this really moving too much. Okay. And I'll take it off. Around my corners. And with this one, you can even take some of that off, because her fingers are tiny. And then you will apply it snugly, but not too tight. I think I mixed up those straps. There we go. And you want to make sure that it's tight enough that it's not going to be moving, but at the same time, if there's edema, that it's not cutting off circulation. Good. And her MPs are free and her DIP, but her PIP is immobilized. So there's your PIP gutter split.